Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Knitter Podcast. My name is Allison and I am your host. I'm recording on Sunday, July 23rd or 4th from my home in Los Angeles, California. I am joined today by my cat Cloudy, so you may see or hear her. She, of course, the minute you start recording, thinks you're talking to her and then comes over for some love. But I have a lot of knitting to share with you today. I have been knitting, finishing a few things, and I've had a bit of cast-on-itis. So I have cast on more projects than I normally do, and I want to share all that with you. So let's get started with FOs. I have 3 FOs since I last talked to you. First, well, in no particular order, this is one you haven't seen at all. Let me put it on. This is my sun hat, and this is crocheted, which is not my strong point. I can crochet, self-taught. My mother was an awesome crocheter back in my youth, but I do it when I usually do it for Afghans or sometimes for finishing. But I felt like I wanted a new sun hat, and I was looking for something to use up my last ball of Limer and Cottonies that I've had in my stash for a long time. You'll find that as a theme of these projects, that I'm trying to use up old stash. So I had a skein of the Lime brand Cottonies, and so I went looking for a hat to make. And this is heavily inspired, because I ended up doing a lot of things, by the Ridge Hat with Brim by Cool Stitch. And I originally was going to do that, and I started it the way it starts, which is basically a single crochet in the round for the top, and then that has a very different stitch, and when I was doing it, it just wasn't giving me the open feel that I wanted for the sun hat. So I ripped back and I went looking again and back and forth for a few days, and then I pulled out, I have a book, it's called the Crochet Bible, I don't know who it's by, but in there it has some stitches. And so I ended up picking up this, it's called shell mesh. And I did one round of that, not perfectly, but well enough. And that kind of gave me this lacy section. And then after that, I did 3 rows of single crochet and then 2 rounds of double crochet for the rim, increasing as per the pattern originally, and then I ended up with a shell edging on the end. And this is in preparation for my trip next weekend to Vegas, where it'll be hot, and I just kind of wanted just something, a little shade, a little protect the top of the head, but wouldn't be too hot. It's a little bigger than I want. I'm thinking I'm going to try to throw it in the washer and dryer and see if I can shrink it up a bit. If not, I'll probably perform some type of crochet surgery where I don't know, tighten some of these meshes a little bit. But overall, I'm happy with it. Once I got started, it was pretty easy, and I made a hat, and that's all that really matters. I didn't use the full skein. I was worried, which was another reason I went with the shell mesh, of running out of yarn, and I ended up using 0.6 of the ball, which was 100 and, let me refer to my notes, 124 yards. So enough. And then the rest of the skein is going in my leftovers that I use. I have in a pile for like charity knitting, probably Mother Bears. So pretty happy with the hat. Pretty happy with crochet, like Knitters Who Crochet, as I said on Instagram, but sorta, because I'm not the best crocheter, but I'm happy with it and it works. So if you're interested, check out my project page and you can see the link to the pattern. There's a lot of cool crochet hats out there. Initially, as I made modifications, like this was done in a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And then the stitch that was originally in the pattern, it was too tight. And I think part of it was too tight is because I was using too small a gauge for this kind of heavier worsted. Well, not heavy worsted, but worsted. And so I ended up going up a needle size or a crochet hook size for the shell mesh to a 6, and then down again to the 5 to tighten it up for the brim. So all those modifications and notes I made are on my project page. So this was a hat I started and finished since I last saw you. The other thing I finished, which was my big thing, is I finished my Citron. Here it is in all its 800 and no, 940 yards, 2 skeins of Malabrigo lace and the Polar Morn. And then I ended up doing, because it was rolling a little too much, well, I did 8 repeats. And then I didn't have enough to do a full repeat of the ruffle edging, which is fine because I don't really particularly like a super ruffle edge. But it was curling a little more, and so I ended up looking at the project pages, and a lot of people had done a beaded bind off. And I had some beads, and so I decided to do that. And so I did a beaded bind off with like a purple crystal seed bead, and I did knit 2, purl 1, and then I think I did it every 4th stitch. And so I ended up having 240 beads. It took almost an entire day off and on. Beaded bind offs are no joke. They take a long time, especially when I had, you know, a lot of stitches. So I probably had 800-900 stitches, maybe more, 1,000 probably. And so it's done. Now, this was a replacement for a Citron that I loved, and it was supposed to be the replacement. But although I like it, I don't like it for me. It is heavier than I need. The last one I made, and I should have known this, the last one I made was a merino silk blend, and this is pure wool. And so it's just a lot warmer than I'm wanting and not quite as squishy. It's still beautiful, and I'm happy I made it, but I think I'll be finding another home for it. So, yeah. But the pattern is a Knitty. It's a free pattern. A lot of people have done it. It's been around since 2009, I think. And I highly recommend it. It's very mindless. It does take a while as you start, you know, mine is pretty sizable. It does take a while, those last rows, but I basically just kind of muddled down and said, I gotta finish this. And so it became my primary knitting for a while. And I am really happy with it. And I'm happy this was old stash, the Malabrigo lace. So I'm happy to have it out of my stash. And I think it will be a beautiful gift for someone. I'm thinking for Christmas, maybe for someone in my boyfriend's family, either his mother or his grandmother, I think it'd be really nice for. And I really did like the beaded edging. It looks like adds weight and makes it hang down and doesn't let it curl up too much. And I haven't even blocked it. I don't think I'm going to. I think it's fine without blocking. And that was my Citron. Last thing I finished, and this is gonna be a gift for my friend's daughter. And I had knit the other shawl I finished, which I can't remember, the Spindrift shawl that I'm giving to her other daughter who's older. And I know, because I know how sisters are, if I gave her a gift and didn't give one to her younger sister, it would not be cool. So I'd cast on last time for the Baktus. It's supposed to be a scarf, but I think the size will be a perfect little shawl for a little girl. She's 4. And this is Crazy Zauberball, and I followed some modifications for some people on Ravelry where basically I took the ball and I split it in half, and then I did stripes. So you can kind of see how it gradiates, the purples and the blues. The contrast isn't so heavy that it's like crazy, so it's very kind of blendy kind of, but you can definitely see that there's some stripes. And I basically split the ball in half, and then I weighed it, and then when I got close to where I thought I would be stopping, where I had 49 grams left, I stopped and started decreasing. And then I don't know what happened because I ended up with like 5 grams left, so I must have measured wrong when I stopped. I'm not really sure, but I'm happy with the length, and I did some modifications from some people on there. So the increases were knit front back, and then I knit through the back loop of every end. So it gave, for the most part, a pretty even edge that I really like. I'm not really sure if I have a few spots where I think I didn't pull my needle a little tight enough, so it's not totally straight, but straight enough. So happy. I'm gonna probably give this a quick block. I haven't done it yet, and then I will be wrapping this up, and I will be seeing them next week. And I will give this to them at that point, and hopefully they enjoy it and can play dress up or use it or abuse it. It's fine. And I was happy to have that done so quickly. It took me 2 weeks, I think, 3 weeks. Let's see how long it took me. I didn't say, but it's 420 yards. And as I said, I had about 5 grams left, but I'll just throw that into my linen stitch blanket. So those are my 3 FOs. And now let's go on to my whips, because I have a lot of whips. I'm not going to show it, but my linen stitch blanket I finished for the month of July, so I'm up to 21 inches. Really pleased with it. So a little over a quarter of the length, I think. And just still going forth with it, still enjoying it, and love finishing fingering weight and having a little bit to throw in there so I can have new colors and stuff. That makes it really interesting to me. The other ones, I think all of these are started since I last talked to you. So we will just go with all my bags. This is, I can't remember who this bag is from. Absolute Wonder. So this is a bag from Absolute Wonder. I bought, I think in support of Silly Fru a while ago. And in here, I have my jeweled cowl that I've talked about previously. I finally started it. And this is by Knitamo. And it is basically a lace cowl with beads. And I haven't gotten too far on it. Ooh, let's pull it out. Yeah, I got past the edging, and I did do some modifications where I did 3 rows of a seed stitch to try to combat, because some people had said it had been rolling a lot. So I did that, 3 rows of that to combat before starting the lace. The other thing is, this is my Silk Whisper, which is a merino lace. This is what I should have used for my Citron to get that, to recreate my project, but too little too late, and I wasn't gonna make another Citron right after, and I wanted to use this up because this has also been in my stash. I think I picked up this yarn at Vogue Knitting 2011, so it's been in my stash for 5 years. The beads are Art Fire Vintage Violet, and it's like these cool kind of different light violet, darker violet, some silver, and I am just randomly throwing them in there, so there's no rhyme or reason. And I am using the dental floss method. My dental floss is actually beaded over there in a bowl, which I really enjoy. And because this yarn I think is a little thinner than even the lace that they used, I actually went down 2 needle sizes, and so I added an additional 60 stitches. So the pattern originally calls for 200 stitches, and I'm doing 260 and a US 6. And I'm really liking the fabric. That was part of it. I did a little swatch, and it's still lacy and open, but gives me a fabric that I like. And it should give me about 44 inches circumference, which will be a good cowl length. And yeah, so just working on it, probably a round at a time a night, because the beading, when I get to it, does get a little tedious. Even though I'm using a dental floss, beading does slow you down. And I do want to finish it. I'm not sure how wide I'm going to make it. We'll see where I get with the beads and where everything. So that is my jewel cowl, and I was happy to finally start that, another lace project, right after my last lace project. I'm on a lace kick. I have one more, I think, set of, or one more lace project that's in the queue that I have yarn for, and then I think I'm all out of lace. Let's see. Next, what is in my SSK Fat Squirrel 2014 bag? Ah, my Anders sweater. So this is going to be the Anders sweater, and I don't have a picture, but this is going to be a baby knit, and this is a well-known pattern that a lot of people have done. It is a colorwork sweater. You pull it over. It's a top-down raglan with colorwork of trees at the bottom, and it is a paid pattern that I bought from Soren Kerr, and this was from December of 2013. And again, old stash, using some Lion Brand Super Wash Special project. This isn't like their standard line. I picked this up at their store in New York City when I was there in, gosh, when was I there? 2009. Old stash, guys, old stash. And then the trees are gonna be some Patton's Beehive and gray that I have in my stash that I used for Christmas presents to make the Star Wars hats last year. So I think that that will be really cute. And I am really loving how it's knitting up. So I've gotten all the way, I've just joined in the round. So I've done the top raglan, and let's see if I can pull it, and have already like created little buttonholes, because it basically has 3 little buttons that you can open, I assume, to get over the baby's head. and then continuing down before I get to the color work, we'll start on the body of the trees. And I'm making the 12 to 18 month size. I don't have someone in mind, but my best friend is pregnant, but she hasn't found out the sex of the baby. So I figured I might as well start it. And I think even with the green and the gray, that whether it's a girl or a boy, I probably can give it to him. I think it will be cute either way. So I have started that, and I actually knit all of this yesterday. I cast this on yesterday, and I did this much and got down to there, and it was a really easy knit. Oops. So I am enjoying that and enjoying, again, using up old stash. And it should be a pretty simple project. The color work will probably take a little bit of time, but it's not super complicated. I cast on a pair of socks, and this is in my Slip Stitch Studios bag. And I finished my purse knitting, and so I needed another project for something easy, and so it was time for another pair of socks because I have some training next week as well as some car time, or I just needed the comfortable one. Like, all these other projects aren't hard, but they're bigger, they don't fit in my purse, I can't pull them out easily. So I started a pair of socks for my boyfriend, and this is Into the World Pakuko yarn that I picked up in Rhinebeck this year. And this is Maryland sheep wool, and this is the Talisman colorway, and I'm really liking it. So you can see on the back, it's striping, unintentionally, but it's striping. And then I decided for the pattern to do a seed stitch, and there's actually a pattern I linked to on my project page because I was inspired by the seed stitch in their sock pattern, but I'm doing my own thing, like my own toe up. I'll do a fish lips kiss heel probably, but I do like the seed stitch pattern. I think it gives it a cool little look, and it isn't very hard to do, the pattern. And then here's the yarn all balled up. So these will be socks that I'll be working on probably the next few weeks. As I said, I have some training time. They go in my purse. When I go on vacation next week, this is probably the project that will be in my purse when I'm wandering around Vegas to pull out at any moment that I can knit on. The other project, sorry kitty, is in my Boo bag. That was a gift from Jamie Pearl for my birthday, and it is from Birdlight Bags. And Halloween bags you can use anytime. In here, I have started, well, almost started. I'm going to be knitting the Regatta Tee from Olga Casey, and this is from an interweave from 2013, I think. Yeah, IK Summer 2013. And you sort of can see it. It is just well, you can't see it all, but it's basically a boat neck tee in stripes with a lace motif on top. And I'm going to be knitting it in Skinny Dipping sport that I picked up when I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And then the stripes are going to be Leading Men Fiber Arts in this great color. So these are my two colors together. This is going to be the lace panel on top, and then this is going to be the body color. And I have technically not passed it on, but I did swatch. And from my swatch, my gauge is a little tighter, though my rows are spot on. And I like this fabric, so instead of 23 stitches to the inch, which is the pattern, I'm getting 26. But I'm just going to follow, it's a very basic front back, very little shaping with the top. So I'm going to just follow a larger size to get the size I need. And I'm really liking it. I think it's beautiful. This color is called Mineral, and I have two skeins of it to contrast. So I'm going to cast that on today to get that, and that should be a lot of mindless knitting because it's basically a lot of just stockinette with some striping pattern, and it will be easy. Very excited. Part of my cast on itis. I skeined these up a few days ago. And then, what is in this one? It's heavy. Oh, I have one more project too. I don't know where it's at. This is my undergrowth hat, and it's a free pattern, and it's color work, and it's a cool hat, and the pattern, I'm so bad with information today. The pattern is by Mandy Peters, and it's free, and I'm doing it in red and white, and I think one's a Patons, and then one is like cheap Joanne yarn. Bum, bum. Red Heart. Blah. I couldn't think of it. This is Red Heart, the red and a baby, and this is the white. And so I've just got into doing, I did this really cool bottom they have, which is, it's kind of like a ribbed kind of 2-color thing. It really looks cool. And now I've just started like 4 rows into the pattern. Now I did go, and because I was having problems figuring out which row I was on, so normally I don't do stitch markers to separate, but on this one I had to. I was having problems figuring out where I was, especially if I wasn't paying too much attention, so I went ahead and put stitch markers in here because the repeat is 28 stitches. And I pulled out something that I picked up from Knit Picks years ago that I haven't used in a while, and this is to basically track my pattern. So I use this to show what row I'm on, and when I'm using it, I go up like this, and then I can figure out where I am, and it's easy for me to see. And then when I'm not, I just close it up and stick it in the bag. So that's my undergrowth. I'll be working on that here and there. It's a hats, but color work, and with my many other projects, we'll see how long it takes. I have one more project, and I don't know where I put it. I just started a Marin by Isolde Teague yesterday also. And I've knit this pattern before. It was in my library, but it's a paid pattern, and it's a very cool crescent style reversible shawlette kind of. I'm trying to make mine bigger, so I'm doing it on slightly bigger needles, and I'm using some hand spun that was gifted to me 2 years ago for my birthday from Emily of Ooh Fancy Pants. And she had done it, the yarn that she gave me was 3 Water Farms Polworth silk, and it's beautiful. I didn't realize, because she had skeined it up, and it was many cool colors in the skein, and when I actually balled it up with my skein, it actually is going to be like a gradient, so it goes from one color to the next to the next. And the way the shawl is knit, it's knit from end to end, so the colors are going to be gradiating this way, which I think will be really cool. I've only done like the first few repeats, and I think I think it's upstairs next to my bed because I wanted to have a project up there. We kind of in randomness, we finally bought a TV for the bedroom, and we did this over the 4th of July weekend. And so sometimes at night we're sitting in bed and watching like the last TV show up there instead of in the living room. And so I wanted to have some knitting next to the bed that I could pull out and work on. So that is what I'm working on there. So I have a total of six whips. That's crazy for me. I usually have 2. And it was just, you know, when cast on-itis hits you, and I just wanted more variety and things to choose. And these were all things in my queue, and most of them, as I said, were from old stash yarn. There's a few, like the Regatta Tee, that's all new. Most of the other ones are using old stash, so I'm getting through my old stash, which is one of my goals this year. And really just happy to be knitting, was happy to cast on and knit, you know, the first repeat of everything yesterday while blitzing the 2nd season of Bates Motel is what I ended up watching, which is a great show. And that's kind of all the knitting I have. In life, not too much has been going on. It's hot here, really hot. We're having a very hot fire season. There's a bad fire going on right now, sand fire. So we have some really interesting skies because there's a lot of smoke, and we've been having very high heat for us and very dry. But hopefully it will cool down and we'll help them get that fire control. Work has been going. We've had the 4th of July since I last talked to you, and we had a very mellow 4th of July weekend, just kind of hanging out. And then fireworks are illegal in Los Angeles, but on the 4th of July, you would not know it. And I live kind of up on a ridge, and you can kind of see down a ways. And so all we did was we went to the roof, and we just watched everyone's illegal fireworks going off. And it was crazy. Fireworks started going off at 8 p.m. and probably were going until 12:30. Just constant. And these are like big fireworks, big mortars going off. And so we sat up there probably about 45 minutes watching fireworks before I was fireworked out. But it was really chill. The big plans I have, so let's talk about my travel plans. So on Thursday, I'm going to Vegas for 5 days for my boyfriend's cousin's 40th birthday. And so he has a bunch of family coming in. And then it just happens to be My sister goes out there twice a year for work for a furniture show, and so that's the weekend she'll be there. And then on Sunday, I'm flying my mom and my niece and nephew, my 15-year-old nephew and my 6-year-old niece are flying to Vegas so that my mom can stay a few days with my sister while she's working, and then I will take my niece and nephew back to LA to hang out with me for a week, and then I'll put them on a plane the following week. So really excited. I have a bunch of potential plans. I haven't made any hard plans. I have a list of things we can do, and then we will just kind of either decide the day of or the day before what they want to do. Kind of a disparate in ages, so some things may be more fun to others, but we're just gonna hang around LA. We do plan on going to San Diego on the following weekend and staying on my boyfriend's brother's boat and going to SeaWorld. That was a request for my niece, so that will be the theme park we definitely see. We may hit Disneyland, we may hit Knott's Scary Farm, museums, arcades, like, we'll see. I have the whole week off, and I'm really just looking forward to spending a lot of time hanging out with them. And then that's my only big trip until Hawaii. Hawaii is shaking down. I have a few more plans to make. I think I need to, this week I'm going to be booking my places on Maui. Gotta book my rental cars. My brother and sister have booked their tickets with their significant others, so that's exciting. And all my other friends have too. So I just can't believe it's only in 3 months. I turned 40. Yes, so this was for my 40th birthday. I turned 40 on Halloween, and this is how I'm celebrating Hawaii with my friends. And I can't wait. Before that though, I actually have Cognitive Fiber Retreat in October. I'm signed up to go to that. I have to book my room for that too. I haven't done it yet. And with my friend Priscilla, I believe, is going. So we'll be hanging out there and seeing all my Northern California friends and all my other friends who go there and having a little knitting time. And that's like the first or second weekend of October for up in Tehachapi, hosted by the awesome Dr. Gemma of the Cognitive Fiber Retreat. So that's kind of all I have going. Today's a lazy Sunday. I'm gonna go and pick from one of my many projects to knit on. And I'm sort of already in vacation mode. I mentioned I have all day training Monday and Tuesday. Then I have Wednesday at work, and then half day on Thursday, and then we're gone. And then I don't go back until August 9th. Tuesday I go in late. They're getting on a direct flight from LA because they've never flown by themselves, my niece and nephew. So this will be their first time flying by themselves. So we're doing the whole dropping them off, which I've never done, like going through security when I'm not flying and all of that on Tuesday morning. And so I got to do all that before I head to work. So I will be having over a week off, which is exciting, and lots of vacation. And I plan on having quite a bit of knitting time in that, hopefully. Though there'll probably be less than I think, just hanging around and hanging out with all the kids. So that's all I have. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer, if it's summer where you are, or winter. I have seen a few pictures on Instagram of people enjoying the snow because it's winter where they are, and that is lovely too. Regardless, I hope everyone is having a good time. If you want to find me, I am Allison1031 on Instagram and Ravelry. All of my information on my projects is there. I don't do show notes, but if there's anything you have a question on, shoot me a message. This will be up on my blog as well as YouTube. And I think that's it. Everyone have a great day. And that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.